Good morning, everyone. I'm Adeline Larocque, and I'm the event director of Jec World. It's with great pleasure that we'll welcome you today to the Country of Stage of Turkey. Country of Stage is a new edition of this year's program. It's a program that has been created so that selected countries can highlight their excellence. The value of the Turkish composite market has reached 1.5 billion euro and is now one of the fastest growing countries in the composite business. In the next 1.5 hours, we will welcome on stage some of the most famous Turkish composite companies. I would like now to invite Mr. Paksoy, board member of the TCMA, to kick off this session. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Kerem Paksoy. I'm the Assistant General Manager of Duratec, and I'm here on behalf of Turkish Composite Manufacturers Association and Istanbul Chamber of Commerce. And I would like to start with my introduction speech. First of all, we would like to thank Istanbul Chamber of Commerce for sponsoring this wonderful event. It was founded in 1882, and it has now more than 400,000 members. And all of these members generate more than 43% of Turkish GDP. And ITO, Istanbul Chamber of Commerce, sponsors many international organizations, and JEC one of them. And I'm a board member of Turkish Composite Manufacturers Association, which was established in 2005. We have now more than 100 members, and we try to organize some educational programs, and we try to develop some projects which solve the problems of the sector, and we try to present the Turkish composite sector by organizing national and international events. And one of them is Turkish Composite event, which will take place between October 10th and 12th of this year. The program schedule is as following. After my introduction speech, Mr. Barış Pakiş, the president of TCMA, will give some figures about the Turkish composite sector. And after that, there will be a panel moderated by Mr. Nigel Odea. And Mr. Barış Pakiş will conclude today's program. As I said, Mr. Barış Pakiş is the president of TCMA, but at the same time, he is also the CEO of Polin Water Parks. And that company was established in 1976 in Istanbul, and now they have 2 production facilities, one in Turkey and one in India. They have more than 3,000 projects in more than 100 countries. And they are the biggest water slide manufacturer in Eurasia and one of the biggest in the world. Mr. Nigel Odea will moderate the panel. He has extensive knowledge about the composite industry in the world. He's been working with global companies for 25 years. And his team, OB2B Industrial Marketing, is helping companies with their marketing and PRs. Mr. Ali Çamur'dan, the sales and marketing manager of Şişecam Elyaf. Şişecam Elyaf is one of the sister companies of one of the biggest private banks called İş Bankası in Turkey. They produce glass fibers, and they were established in 1971. And they invested in a new project with 140,000 tons. The first phase of this project kicked off at the end of last year, and the second phase of 70,000 tons will be opened soon. Mr. Douglas Parks, the CEO of Dow AXA, unfortunately he will not be able to join the panel today. He lost his voice. But I would like to introduce his company a little bit. AXA is the mother company of Dow AXA, which was founded in 1972, and they are a world leader acrylic fiber producer. And they also produce their own raw material, or one of their own raw materials. And they started with the carbon fiber production in 2009, and in 2012 they joined a joint venture. They formed a joint venture with Dow, and the company became Dow AXA. Mr. Uğur Üstünel, Uğur has taken over the family business a while ago, and that family business dates back to 1940s. And Matrix started in 2003. They started with high-performance technical textiles, and they also provide services like kitting, model and mold production, and prototyping. Now they operate in Istanbul, in Manisa, and they have another factory in Hungary, and they have a brand new factory in the USA. And they have more than 800 employees. Mrs. Deniz Korkmaz is the Composite Technologies Director, EMI, of Kortsa. Kortsa is a sister company of a big group called Sabancı Group in Turkey, and Kortsa was established in 1973. They started with the production of tire and construction reinforcement, as well as, right now, composite technologies. And Kortsa operates on many countries, like Turkey, Brazil, Indonesia, Thailand, and the US. They have more than 4,000 employees. Mr. İsmail Hacı Alioğlu, he used to be the general manager of Şişecam Elyaf. Now he is the general secretary of TCMA. He will summarize the Turkish resin manufacturers in Turkey. All these companies produce either polyester, vinyl ester, or epoxy. And some of these companies can be found on the floor here at GEC. They exhibit here. I already explained to you Polya, Mr. Emin Berk Baltaoğlu, the West European Business Development Manager. He will explain more about Polin Votupax. We have more than 30 companies on the floor on over 1,200 square meter area, and these are where they can be found. And in my last slide, I would like to introduce you the Turkish composite event in 2019. This is the one and only composite show in Turkey, organized and supported by TCMA, and it will take place in October 10 to 12 in Istanbul. We would like to welcome you in that event as well. Thank you very much. Now I would like to invite Mr. Barış Pakiş, the president of TCMA. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kerem. Good morning, everyone. I was first acquainted with composite material when I was 8 years old. So how was it? My father was an architect, and he discovered this material for use in the construction of buildings he designed. I don't know, but I think there is something magical about this material. Even though I graduated from the Faculty of Medicine and became a doctor, I couldn't sever from this composite material. The richness of this material, its openness to change, and its flexibility to new spaces have always tempted me. The composite material has always carried us forward by surprise. Now, at the world's biggest composite show, I am very proud because I am going to talk about the Turkish composite industry, because our country is on stage. Following me, 5 Turkish composite company speakers and Mr. Ismail, General Secretary of our association, TSMI, will provide you with information on both raw material and finished goods produced from Turkish composite sector. I would like to start my presentation first by giving you some numbers related to the global composites industry and Turkish composites industry. At the end of 2017, the global composites and product market was 70.1 billion euros. The global composites market is projected to grow further in 2018 by approximately 2.9% in terms of volume. And then thereafter it is expected to grow at an average annual rate 2.8% CAGR until 2023. You can see also the volume of composites produced in the global market. For example, it was 11.1 kilotons in 2017. On the other hand, at the end of 2017, the Turkish composites market and product market was 1.5 billion euros. Also, Turkey composites product market was 280 kilotons at the end of 2017. This number was 245 kilotons in 2015, and it was 265 kilotons in 2016. And it's expected to grow at an average annual rate of 6%. It's a huge rate, CAGR, until 2023. A review of composites consumption per capita, which is globally recognized as a development criterion, reveals that Turkey is looking at considerable opportunities in respect of composites industry. The set amount, which ranges between 4 kilograms and 10 kilograms across the world, is 35 kilograms for Turkey. There are some examples in different countries. The average unit price, which is around 6.9 euros per kilogram globally, is roughly 5.3 euros per kilogram in Turkey. Both the consumption amount per capita and the average unit price in Turkey are considered advantages for the country in the forthcoming period. Again. The Turkish composites industry is comprised of 180 medium to large size companies and 800 companies that are partially engaged in the composite business. Combined, these companies employ roughly 8,200 employees. Breakdown of this, 85% production employees, 15% management executive staff. Currently, the value of Turkish composites market has grown to 1.5 billion euros, and the volume of the composites produced has grown to 180 kilotons in 2017, and as I said before, expected to grow at an average annual rate of 6% CAGR until 2023. Let's look at the Turkish composites industry sector's profile. When we look at the member profile of our association, TSMR, our sector distribution is like the graph in the figure. 38%.
The sports technical conference just started. Do not miss the opportunity to know how to be above the average in hall 6, room 611. Thank you.
38% of our members are end user of composite parts companies, 19% raw materials companies, 15% universities, 11% distribution agent and representation companies, 6% services engineering companies, 6% again intermediate products companies, lastly 5% our members are equipment tool and ancillary products companies. I will show you some examples of the end user of companies, composite parts companies in the next slides. You already know our raw material companies and global distributors in Turkey, as you have followed them in GAC shows for years. Also, there will be a presentation of our 3 raw material companies, and Mr. Ismail will tell you about our country's resin industry. What about universities? In our sector, collaboration with industry and university and lecturers is very important. Since the establishment of our association, we had a reputable instructor at all board meetings. They provide an academic and scientific perspective to the sector. By the way, Professor Ahmet Ünal also is, I think, here. Hi, Ahmet Hocam. He is a technical consultant of our board of directors. I guess he is interrupting all board meetings since 5 years without any interruption. The composite interest of our universities and therefore our students is very high, and each year hundreds of composites projects are realized by students. I want to show some examples of them. It's a solar car team. It's a electrical car project from Istanbul Technical University. Again, Istanbul Technical University Space Vehicle Project. As a result, the number of academic publications, researches, projects, and articles pertaining to the composite sector is increasing every year in our country. Now I would like to show some examples composite and use applications markets in Turkey. The automotive industry is very important for the Turkish composites industry. Its strategic market location, relatively low cost, and abundance of skilled labor have made Turkey a good base for international car makers. Turkish aerospace maintains its unceasing development in aerospace industry and prepares itself beyond the sky. Turkish aerospace, with its big goals and unique products, is working to be the best in aviation industry. Building and construction is one of the Turkey's biggest industries and the largest market for the composites industry. Turkish defense industry turnover has doubled over the past 7 years with an annual average growth rate of 10%. In these two sectors, there are many opportunities with the developing industry. Infrastructure is the largest market for the Turkish composite industry. There are big GRP pipe manufacturers in compliance with international standards. Most of Turkey's boat builders are now exporting to European and Middle East countries. International boat builders are also starting to set up manufacturing operations in Turkey. New hospital investments have a positive impact on this sector. There are many opportunities for growing petrochemical industry. Energy demand in Turkey is growing, and Turkey's wind energy market has strong potential. Railway industry with new railways and high-speed train, subway projects is very fast developing sectors in Turkey also. There are companies to lead the global amusement industry, especially in water parks. Now, in this slide, I would like to show distribution of composites and use applications markets in terms of volume in Turkey, Europe, and world in a graph. A review of application of the composites industry within the global composites markets reveals that top 3 industries in terms of volume are road, transportation and automotive, building and construction, electrical and electronics sectors. In Turkey, road transportation and automotive, building construction are in the top 3, but GRP pipe production, with the growth rate of which has reached 30%, leveraging demand in Turkey. Now let's look to the future. So what are the predictions in our industry? What is the position of the Turkish composites industry? According to researchers, the following markets are likely to provide healthy growth during between 2018 and 2023. These sectors are aerospace, wind energy, pipe and tank, construction and building, consumer goods, electrical and electronics sectors. Looking at the report, Turkish composites industry seems lucky. The use of composites products in these fields, aerospace, electrical and electronics, and consumer goods, are below average in both global and European markets. Therefore, there are opportunities for these sectors. Wind energy, building and construction, pipe and tank market is above average, as you see, in both global and European markets. But there is much more to be done in these 3 sectors for our composite market in Turkey. In addition to that, there is a great interest in these sectors by both neighboring countries and nearby geographies. In this case, the accumulation of know-how in the composites industry provides many advantages in Turkey. What are the advantages of Turkish composites industry? We have strong and steadfast raw material producers, convenience in supplying raw materials from rest of the world with powerful distributors. We have both competitive labor force and qualified university graduates. We have necessary machinery, automation, and robotic manufacturers for the industry. Global manufacturers also have distributors in Turkey. We are centrally located. Turkey is a natural bridge between both east-west and north-south, thus creating an efficient and cost-effective outlet to major markets. We have access to 1.6 billion customers in Europe, Eurasia, Middle East, and North Africa. Universities are in compliance with the industry, and they provide support to it actively. Turkey has customs union with the EU since 1996 and free trade agreements with 36 countries. Government and local governments stand behind our sector, and they provide support to especially composites R&D centers. As I said before, both Turkey and neighboring region, particularly aerospace, building and construction, electrical and electronics, consumer goods, wind energy issues have very large market potential in Turkey. Now I want to show a very short video summary of my presentation.
Turkey already has the role of being a natural bridge between Asia and Europe, and it is the safest and easiest export route. By taking this advantage, TCMA brings the industry together to support and ensure growth and industrial success for Turkey. our competencies in processes from research and development to production make us stronger. Turkish composites industry continues to grow in strength because of our raw material suppliers and distributors each and every single day. The value of the Turkish composites market has grown to 1.5 billion euros and the volume of the composites produced has grown to 280 kilotons in 2017. The Turkish composites industry is comprised of 180 medium to large-sized companies and 800 companies that are partially engaged in the composite business. The composite industry grows in Turkey by higher rates than it does in Europe and in the world. Composite industry is a crucial industry for Turkey since it produces high added value products and composite is the material of the future. Discover the richness Turkey's composites industry and its high-quality products through the eyes of key Turkish companies. We are passionate creating the perfect products made by composites and share this perfection to the world. So, let's grow together.
Thank you. Now I would like to invite Mr. Nigel to moderate the discussion about Turkish composite industry.
Good morning, everybody. It's a great pleasure to be here as the moderator for the Turkish country event. I've had the pleasure of doing business and being on holiday in that country, so for me this is a real pleasure. At this stage in the proceedings, if I could invite all of our panel speakers to join me on the stage and come and take your seats, please. That would be absolutely marvelous. How we're going to run this particular session now is I'm going to invite each one of them to come and join me on the stage. We have a set of a few questions to be able to talk them through, and by the end of those questions, I hope you will be better informed about their companies, their activities, and how they see the future of their business, both within Turkey and internationally. Many of these companies are now multinational organizations. Excellent. Right. As you can probably hear, I'm English, and we are always very polite, and in this situation, it is ladies first. So if I could invite Mrs. Korkmaz, please, to join me. You need your microphone.
Is that working? Yes.
It's working perfectly. Excellent. Right, I have, my first question really is, I understand today Kordsa is a global player very much for carbon and aramid technical fabrics and for prepregs.
Right.
Right. Could you really tell us a little how you started as your company in the Turkish composites market?
Yes. Thank you for the opportunity. Well, as Kordsa, as the global player in global and the biggest player in tire reinforcement industry, we have made the decision to invest in composites fields in 2013. So we made this decision because we believe that composite materials is the cutting-edge material of the future. And besides that, the area is not very different to us because we have been, since 1973, building competency in weaving various types of fibers and coating technologies in our core business, that is tire cord fabric reinforcements. So we just translated our accumulated knowledge to this composites market. So as a first step in the market, we have inaugurated our Composite Technology Center of Excellence in Istanbul, Turkey. It serves as a research, basic research, applied research, technology development, product development, entrepreneurship, and serial production platform, all under one roof. It is seen as R&D and innovation hub for Turkey, both for global and Turkish markets. And the center hosts one of the most prominent testing centers in the world dedicated to composite materials. So we see that it is a sign of our dedication to the industry, and it differentiates us from any other company in the market. Looking regionally in EMEA, we have this organic investments to technology with our Center of Excellence with a focus on aerospace and automotive markets. In North America region, last year we have completed 3 acquisitions, and we have recently announced one more, so it will be 4 in total. So in essence, our intention is to build a second Kordsa, both with organic and inorganic moves through innovations, investments, and acquisitions.
Thank you. Second question, what are your sort of main expectations for the Turkish market in the next few years, in the coming years?
So composite is the material of the future with the benefits it provides, like high strength, high stiffness, and lightweight. And as Mr. Pakish has very well presented, Turkish market is one of the fastest growing markets in the world. So we see a bright future in this respect. So the use of those materials in the world is growing very steadily, as well as in Turkey. We believe that aerospace and automotive are one step further ahead in terms of development regarding the weight-saving advantages of the composite material presents. So we have opened our Center of Excellence together with Sabancı University in order to bring both university and industry together in this respect. And it is an exemplary model both for Turkey and the world. Kordsa made a $30 million investment. The reason for that is that we believe that it is of strategical, crucial importance for our country to develop technology in this field. We are running the center with an open innovation mindset. That means we are open to every other third party to come and join forces, the universities, institutions, other companies, experts, both from Turkey and from all over the world. We are very open for collaboration to further leverage innovations, because we believe that we can do better if we join forces for a more sustainable world.
Thank you. You mentioned earlier about your international expansion. Could you tell us a little about the operations and activities of Kordsa in the USA?
Yeah, sure. Last year we have completed 3 acquisitions with an investment of $100 million USD, with fabric development, textile products, and advanced honeycomb technologies. Fabric development and textile products are producing advanced textile materials, and they are among the strategic suppliers of aerospace industry in the US, while advanced honeycomb technologies is producing honeycomb core materials, again for mostly aerospace market. And very recently this year we have announced our fourth acquisition. We have signed a definitive agreement with Axiom Materials to acquire 96% of the shares of the company, which has an enterprise value of $181 million USD. And Axiom Materials is producing, again, advanced materials for aerospace and industrial market. So through these acquisitions, we believe that we fulfill our motto, which is inspired from life. We reinforce life. In our tire reinforcement business, we are reinforcing 1 out of every 3 car tires, while 2 out of every 3 plane tires are reinforced by Kordsa materials. And thanks to these acquisitions, we are now reinforcing the hulls, the wings, engines, and interiors of the aircrafts as well.
Thank you. Thank you very much. In terms of the future and the projections for Kordsa, explain briefly a little about that.
Sure. Before passing to that, could we show the video? We have
Yes, of
a
course.
very short video of 60 seconds.
Fine.
If we could show that. Thank you. So Kordsa is operating in a wide geography from USA to Asia Pacific in 11 facilities and 4 continents in the world. So we are making materials to reinforce buildings and vehicles. And our aim is, as shown in the video, to provide safe, joyful, and seamless moments for the people. So inspired by those moments, we are developing our materials for tomorrow's vehicle to make the life better, safer, and more sustainable. So as for future projections, we will continue our R&D and technology investments while looking at further inorganic growth opportunities in order to take firm steps towards our aim, which is to build another Kordsa in composites markets as well, while preserving our leadership position in tire cord reinforcement market.
Super. Thank you. My final question to you, you mentioned your Center of Excellence. I wonder, could you explain a little bit about the work that goes on there?
Sure, with pleasure. Our Center of Excellence is a platform which brings universities, Sabancı University and Kordsa together, but it's an open innovation platform, as I mentioned before. It has a 15,000 meter closed area with 3,500 meters of dedicated laboratory space. And we are doing projects on aerospace, automotive, industrial applications, and marine. Our production facility is AS 9100 certified. And as for the projects, we are working both on aerospace. We have recently started sandwich panel productions, and we are in close collaboration with Turkish cabin interiors in that project. We are working with Turkish Technique. We are developing nano-reinforced materials for patch production for Turkish Technique's needs. Internationally, we are a part of a Horizon 2020 project that is directional composites through manufacturing, where we are one of the partners among 60 other members from 11 countries. There we are developing systems, software and materials to produce composite parts with 3D printing technologies. And last but not the least, we are developing our own resin formulations. We have recently launched our CM14 formulation, which is a dicey-free formula dedicated to fast press curing for the automotive needs. So these are a few projects out from the top of my head.
Thank you. Thank you very much indeed. That's the end of my questioning of yourself. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I'd now like to invite Mr. Östenil from Metex Group to come and join me.
I finally have the microphone. Okay.
We've known each other for many years. So I know now from the start of the company that you are an established multinational manufacturer for glass and carbon fiber technical textiles. Can you share with us how Metex came and entered into the market?
Sure. Gladly. Background, we're actually a textile company, still keep that heritage. Over the years, of course, the country and the industry together with Metex, of course, developed. And today, of course, Metex is doing a little bit more than just textiles. We're a tooling company, we're a service company, doing a lot of core material processing and prototyping as well. And the textile heritage will, of course, continue. But today, of course, we're trying to offer a variety of services, both in Turkey, Europe, and very recently in the US, starting basically last month this year.
Well, thank you. I wanted to go on to that. From the starts, as I know your company in Turkey, you are now very much a multinational. Could you tell us something about the operations and activities both in Hungary and your most recent setup with Metex in USA?
A lot of people ask about why Hungary. That was actually a customer of ours, maybe most of you know, North American Bus Industries. They actually produced back in 2000 the only serial production composite bus in the world. Today, I think in Los Angeles alone, there is 1,700 buses, full composites. And this was a customer to Metex, and they decided to actually get out of Europe. And we decided to acquire this facility back in 2013. Since then, we developed, of course, many other business divisions. We're not making any buses, but we're actually making composite parts in Hungary. But our main, of course, business divisions are duplicated there in terms of technical textiles, core materials processing, and we're planning to service our European customers more from Hungary rather than Turkey. So that's the plan.
Thank you. Well, leading on to my next question, you've had a fairly rapid growth as a business. How do you see, now as the CEO of the organization, how do you see the future vision for the Metex Group that you could share with us?
I think like many of my colleagues from Turkey, of course, the industry in Turkey is growing. We want to, of course, be part of that growth. But we're targeting, of course, a sustainable growth. The numbers, of course, can be misleading. When you look at the first two presentations, you see a lot of growth in Turkey. But I think what's really significant is the value-added composites. Historically, in Turkey, the pipe industry, I think today with 6 good-sized producers. So we still have a good-sized pipe business. But if you look at the past, maybe more than half the composite industry in Turkey was actually these pipe products. Today, we have members of these companies here from aerospace companies, carbon fibers, glass fibers producers. The industry itself is changing. So we, of course, still have some of the old, I think, products being produced. But yes, to see that the value-added composites is actually increasing in Turkey, this is really promising. And to be in Turkey, I think having access to some of these nice materials, and I think this is really interesting and exciting. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you very much indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, Christina from Metex. Right. I'd now like to invite Mr. Bartolu from Poland to come and join me.
Hello, good morning, everyone.
I'm just going to get your presentation up. Excuse me a moment.
That would be nice.
help me out here. Where are we? Here we go. Here we go.
Yeah, that would be the one.
That's the one, and you've got your
Yeah.
thing. Excellent. Excellent. Well, thank you very much for joining us here today.
My pleasure.
My first question to you, you're now a global market leader for water leisure parks, aquatic centres and theme parks. This is an amazing achievement that you've done over the years from a long-established company. Can you take us a little bit back in time and tell us how Pollen entered into the market sector with your GRP production in Turkey?
Sure. Thank you for the opportunity. That would be my pleasure. We started everything in 1972 started with our founder, Mr. Enver Pakesh, who happens to be an architect. And at the early 80s, lately 70s, he got acquainted with the composite sector, and we started manufacturing composite materials for residential sector and construction sector mostly. Then in the beginning of 80s, we started, we've been a part of the tourism sector. But, you know, it will be much better for me to show you a video about what we are doing instead of speaking about it. So it will speak for itself a little bit. It speaks for itself already.
Who knew polyester could be so fun? Right.
10 years ago, when we were talking about our company, we used to say Pollen Water Parks. Now, since 10 years, we are proud to say that we are a part of a group company,
Yes.
which is Pollen Group. And I will be showing you another video, which is just very, like 30 seconds, about the group and what we are doing. Then we will be explaining what we are doing in the world as well. Thank you. Thank you for watching.
Excellent. You mentioned you're now a group, so you've grown beyond Turkey. Could you tell us something about the Pollen's international operations?
Well, what we do, if I can manage to show you a little bit. Right now, we do have 46 years experience in the field. We are a company which has done about over 3,500 projects in 107 countries at this point. We are the largest producer and we are the world leader in terms of what we are doing, in terms of water parks and in terms of the attractions as well. As I can show you, we are based in 19 offices in all over the world. We are pretty active in 65 countries through our partners, agents, as well as our offices. And we do have people from 74 nations which are working for us and with us, obviously. As you would see in the slides, we are pretty well spread all over the world because, we are following a strategy as a local global strategy because we want to be as close as possible to the people that we are working with, to the entrepreneurs, to the hotel owners, to the attraction companies as well. What we are doing is in the business in terms of the areas that we are active. We are not only doing water parks, as you would be seeing. We are doing, besides of the water parks, we are doing wave parks, wave pools, spray parks, so everything which would be related to the water and the attraction, we are in it and we are trying to be in it. Besides that, we are starting from the design to concept design, architectural design, manufacturing, installation, testing, and commissioning. So we are doing turnkey projects for everyone that we are working with. Of course, we are doing maintenances, and we do have attraction facilities as well, what we call dry games. And with all the experience that we had in terms of the water parks, we started doing aquariums and safari parks as well. So we are doing all the things that I mentioned earlier in terms of the concept design up to the installation and testing and commissioning. We are doing for the aquariums and safari parks as well. Besides that, there is another part of the business that we are, of course, a composite supplier, a composite manufacturer, mostly GRP, and we are using light RTM technology, close molding technology in our fields. We do have a yacht production. Besides that, we are producing pools, modular pools, as well as the monoblock pools. With all the experience that we did have before producing water parks in the world, we are also producing composite material for all the related fields, such as aerospace, trains, agricultural sector, defense sector as well. Besides that, with all the molding, we are teaming everything. So we are not only talking about water parks. If you do have a park or a shopping center, or if you need urban equipments for outdoors purposes, we are coming over there and teaming it for you, again, from the conceptual design up to the installation and testing. And at the end, we've been in this export business and selling business because 95% of our businesses are exports all over the world.
This was going to be my final question. Could you just explain a little bit about how your balance with the Turkish market and your export business and how you see that developing in the coming year?
Turkish market, as everyone before me mentioned earlier, we do have a huge potential because we are doing everything with the help of our suppliers in Turkey. And most of the things that you would be saying, about 70% of the things, are produced in Turkey. Of course, we do have international partners which help us to do an international business. But everything that we do, it's been done by Turkish engineers and Turkish companies, mostly. Besides of the manufacturing and installation and commissioning that we have done in the world, if we do see a potential there is also another part of the business that we are trying to be active. We are managing. So if there is a park, we are making joint ventures with the companies, and we are coming over there and managing the companies for you or with you in most of the cases. And if we do see a potential, also we put our brand on it, what we call Fantastic, and we do franchise it in all over the world. Right now, including France, we do have many references in all over the world at this point. Turkey, France, mostly Europe, and United States as well.
Lovely. Thank you very much indeed.
It will be my pleasure. Thank you very much.
Right, my next person I'd like to invite, Mr. Çalmurdan from Şişekemen LF, to come and join me, please.
Thank you. Thank you.
Excellent. You are, as a company now long established in the Turkish market as a player, could you tell us a little how you came into the GRP market with your glass fiber products?
Sure. First of all, I'm greeting everyone with my sincere feelings. And let me give a short information about our mother company, Jec Group. Jec Group is in glass industry since 1935, more than 80 years. And the only glass producer in the world who has activities in all type of glasses. We are producing flat glass, glass spheres, glass packaging, and of course, glass fibers. And we carry out our production activities in 13 countries with more than 40 production plants, I think 43 production plants. And right now we have 46 glass furnaces running right now. And of course, we are providing our goods to more than 150 countries. If you come to glass fiber business, glass fiber is the main inputs of the composite industry. And we have been producing glass fiber since 1976, more than 40 years. And at the beginning, I mean, the early 70s, our mission was to create the composite industry in Turkey. And we always feel responsibility in this scope. And I think we placed a role that our business partners, I mean the manufacturers, composite manufacturers, feel themselves safe in Turkey. And we are the only glass fiber producer in Turkey right now.
Lovely, thank you. Where do you see your most important markets, and what are your expectations within those markets going forward?
From the beginning of 2000, the composite industry in Turkey had rapidly developed and increased about 70 times, I think. And Turkish manufacturers, we see most of them here, showed a remarkable and progressive performance during this period. And the ability of the Turkish manufacturer is extremely high in these days. And this makes it easier for them to take and get share from the global market. And I mean, for example, the infrastructure is taking big share in Turkey market, and wind energy is the most steady and fast developing industry in Turkey, and there are ongoing and upcoming projects also. Wind energy is my favorite market, actually. And another fast increasing market is thermoplastic as well.
Right. Thank you. Excellent. My final question. Is your company planning on making any significant investments in the coming year that you are able to share with us?
we have made a new plant investment of more than €100 actually, and with advanced
Million euros.
Yeah, 100 million
Million
million
euros.
euro.
100 million
yeah,
euros.
Yeah, sure.
You got a very good deal if you got it for 100
million
euros.
Sure, okay.
Hard negotiator.
Thank you. And with advanced technology, we are now providing our products more cost-effective. And of course, we improved our existing products' performance. And we will be providing our new products in the second half of the year according to current demand of the market, such as LFT products and high relative resistance products. And by the way, another important issue that I like to say, we are planning to make another furnace investment in the near future, and this will be high modulus glass also. This is a good news for the composite industry. And I just want to say my last sentence, if you let me.
Please do.
As you know, as I mentioned before, our company is a mission-based company. And as we did before, we will go on standing behind the composite industry in Turkey.
Thank you very much indeed. Ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
And finally, Mr. Ismail, sir, come and join me. Here we go. Oh, hang on.
Good morning, everybody.
Just give me one moment. There we are. Perfect. Hope it will. There we are. It's just come up. It always it just takes a little second. My first question: could you just tell us a little bit more about the composites industry today and how you are seeing things?
Thank you very much. I would like to start with a short picture of Turkish composites in the industry. Okay, I need it.
Green forward,
Okay.
red back.
Composite, a young industry in Turkey. You have seen glass fiber started in 1976. Polyene started in 1974, and that means after 1970s, composite is very active in Turkey. But it has a great industrial dynamism and a steadily growing economy. Availability of all raw materials, glass fiber, carbon fiber, unsaturated polyester resin, vinyl ester resin, epoxy resin, initiators, accelerators, promoters, peroxide, and also multi-axials, woven fabrics, all types of intermediate products, and the rapid evaluation of the markets and processes. We are expecting 30% market growth within 5 years. And the Turkish composites industry, as Mr. Pakish told before, 150 and 200 companies, medium or big size, and 700 and 800 companies partly involved in composite business. Approximately, we have 8,200 employees. And the composite market figures for the year 2017 is, in the volume, 280,000 tons, and in the value, 1.5 billion euro. The composite industry grows in Turkey by higher rates than it does in Europe and in the world. Turkish composite industry has developed rapidly, and in the long term, as the case is with the other industries, in line with the global economic developments in the world and leveraging the effects in the dynamics in the country. The industry grew by 8% or 1 or 2 years to 12% on year-over-year basis in Turkey in the recent years, in line with the prevailing economic conditions. Recent years, the growth rate, I may say that, performed, for example, in 2017 has been 6%. Yes, I would like to skip this one because Mr. Pakish already told you about it. In terms of volume, composite products are most commonly used in Turkey in the pipe tank infrastructure, which is 35%, which is what I believe is a very good power of Turkey for the neighboring countries, because our 7 pipe manufacturers are exporting their product to Russia, Iraq, Iran, Syria, even to South Africa and many countries. And 25% transportation and automotive. That is another important subject for Turkish market. And construction and building, 20% in the industry. As I am here as a representative of the unsaturated polyester resin manufacturers, I may say that you can find all types of resin you want for your need in Turkey. So let's see the distribution of the composite production in Turkey by market use. Yes. And also, the acceleration of the production in Turkey of high-tech products is expected to increase the amount and the percentage of composite materials used in particularly wind power, aerospace and aviation, as well as electrical and electronic goods industries. Also, the other composite applications that pose high growth potential include carbon fiber applications, pipe applications, automotive and transportation, greenhouse applications, solar panels, construction reinforcement, polypropylene random copolymer, which is thermoplastic reinforcement, heating pipes, engineering plastics, and maritime applications. This is the processes used in Turkey to produce the composite products.
Thank you.
If you want, I could continue to say some more words.
The question I had, when we spoke before, you mentioned that there were some distinct advantages from the composite sector in Turkey. I wondered if you could just highlight a couple of these advantages as you see them.
Okay. There is yet a considerable distance Turkey should cover in respect of the production of machine-driven and high-tech products. Glass-reinforced plastic GRP pipe production, leveraging the demand in Turkey and in the surrounding countries, will continue being the driving force of Turkish composites industry. Pultrusion, sheet molding compound, and the thermoplastic injection processes are expected to increase their market shares in the forthcoming period. Infusion and resin transfer molding will continue its growth, especially in wind power, maritime, automotive, and transportation, as well as water slide industries. The growth of the composite industry and the increase in the export levels of the same will enable Turkey, which produces a considerable portion of the relevant raw materials, to gain a more advantageous position in competition. The state-sanctioned market creation efforts, such as the most recent wind power plant tender, will accelerate the growth path of the industry and will offer significant advantages to the companies that operate in the industry. Today in Turkey, 10 unsaturated polyester resin, gel coat, pigment, and vinyl ester resin producers one epoxy resin manufacturer and one organic peroxide initiator and accelerator manufacturer are operating, which all of them are members of our association. These companies could meet the needs of not only the Turkish market, but also all of Europe, with the capacity and knowledge, technology, and know-how they have. They have capacity of 310,000 tons, and they are producing 140,000 tons, which out of this figure, 90% sold in Turkey and 10% sold outside of Turkey. So they have very good potential to increase their export to all over the world, especially to Europe as well.
Excellent, thank you. My final question, we've seen a lot of positive things. Business is challenging. I wonder, could you maybe share with us where you see some of the key challenges that is faced within the Turkish composite sector?
It can be argued that Turkey's export potential will grow as composite materials are used more widely and efficiently, which will in turn contribute to the reduction of the trade deficit in Turkey. While Turkey's composite industry imports the chemical raw materials it needs, the exports of the reinforcement and resins, technical textiles, and finished goods produced in Turkey has helped balance our foreign trade and enable Turkey to achieve international visibility. The Turkish composite industry carries out direct and indirect exports and directly exports the raw materials, industrial semi-finished goods, and finished goods it manufactures in the framework of tenders and projects. Moreover, the industry exports to all the regions of the world, including Europe, Russian Federation, Turkic Republic, the Middle East, North Africa, and even People's Republic of China. I would like to thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Ismail.
And I would like to thank also Istanbul Chamber of Commerce and the JEC Group, which gave us this chance of presenting Turkish composite industry and its power. Thank you very much.
We're coming towards the end of this session. I'd like to invite Mr. Pakis back to close the session, please.
First of all, I would like to thank GAC Group and Istanbul Chamber of Commerce for support for this event. We try to give you a brief about Turkish composite industry. I think we had a great country on stage process. But if you have any questions or need more information, don't hesitate to contact us. TCMI. Our team will be happy to help your questions. Today is the last day of GAC show, but I think it is the first day of our big step to cooperation with the GAC and TSMA. I invite all the composites world to discover the potential of Turkish composite and to make projects together globally. Thank you again.